Welcome to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and I'll break them down into bite-sized tips you can use straight away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 622, and we're going to be talking about business names, whether they're safe with all the domain variations that are out there. You know that feeling when you get an email that sounds a little bit too official, something like, "Dear business owner, another company is trying to register your name in Asia. Please confirm immediately to protect your brand." It looks urgent, it feels serious, it looks legitimate. And it's designed exactly that way. It's to make you, I hate to use the term panic. It's to instill that sense of urgency that you will do something immediately and not really stop to think about it. Today, I'm going to unpack what's really going on with those domain variations and the scam emails that claim someone else is trying to steal your name. One of the things I'm trying to focus on with this episode is I'm going to try and keep it as real as possible, trying to keep it as simple as possible. Anything I suggest, I'm going to try and make it affordable, and I'm going to try and keep it practical. That's what I do. I make things practical. Before we go any further, we really need to look at what the domain variations actually mean. Every website ends with something: .com, .net, .org, .biz, .co, .shop, .ai. It's endless. There are so many out there these days. Now, with the one thing like .com, .net, .org, those ones that I just mentioned, they're all top-level domains. Why they matter is each one is a separate address that anyone can register. So if you own yourbusiness.com, nothing stops someone else from coming along and buying yourbusiness.net or yourbusiness.shop. That's what people mean when they talk about domain variations, and understanding that is going to help us decide which versions are worth protecting and which ones you can safely ignore. I'm also going to get into why we need to consider registering more than one. For most small businesses, you probably only need to consider 3 domain extensions. The .com version, your country code like .co.uk, .ca, .com.au. Now, those two, .co.uk and .com.au, they're not necessarily top-level domains because they've got the extra bit on it, but they're your country code. And maybe one that fits in with your industry, maybe .ai, maybe .biz, maybe .shop, something like that. The rest are really just noise. Your customers aren't going to guess 50 different endings. They'll search your name and click on the top result, which hopefully is yours. If they don't know, they'll either put in .com, that's the most common, or your country code .com.au. So in Australia, a lot of people will go, "I need to know about this business," and they'll put the country, the business name, askcharlyletham.com.au, for example. They'll test .au, maybe ahead of .com, maybe not. It's sort of 6 of one, half of the other. Domain registrars love to tell you, though, that you should protect your brand by buying every version of your name. That advice mostly benefits them. You can spend hundreds of dollars a year holding domains that will never be typed in by a real customer. Why does it matter, though? And why can this name confusion cause harm? Well, the real risk isn't that someone owns your name.net. It's if someone else uses that address to pretend to be you. That's impersonation or fraud. It's rare unless you already have brand recognition. So that's kind of tautology right there. That's confusing. So what we're talking about here is domain squatting. Someone will go out, like, for example, askcharlyletham.com. That's my website. Someone might go out and register askcharlyletham.asia, ASIA, Asia, which is fine. And they may put up something similar to my website. They might put up something that purports to be Ask Charly Leetham, and then take business from me and give it to themselves. Now, the reason they do that is because I'm not saying that I've got brand recognition, but let's assume that I've got a whole heap of brand recognition and I get a whole heap of traffic and lots of people want to work with me. And what they're trying to do is siphon off a portion of that without having to do any real heavy lifting, without having to do any real hard work. They'll take something similar to my domain name, Ask Charly Leetham, change the extension, and then hope that they can siphon off some of the traffic, some of the business that I will be getting. Sometimes it could also be it could be malicious. It could be more malicious than that, because that's pretty malicious. It could be more malicious than that. They might want to actually cause brand damage. They might want to cause reputational damage by doing it. So one of the things that domain registrars tell you, and I will tell you, not to the same degree that domain registrars will tell you, but they'll say register all of these domain names so that you can protect your brand. And all you do is, you register askcharlyleetham.com, askcharlyleetham.com.au, askcharlyleetham.ai.shop.biz.consulting. Whatever. I can have 6, 10, 12, 20 domain names, all similar, just different extensions at the end of it, and they all point back to my main site. I would do that on the off chance that someone might type in a different extension. Still use my business name, but choose a different extension. And I do that so that no one else can actually squat on it or steal the traffic, or it's a risk. It's a gamble. It's a gamble that someone is going to use those. So domain registrars will say, register all of these. I tell people you need to register probably the .com and your country code, .com.au if you're an Australian customer. You might also want to register the .au in Australia now. Not that many people use .au at the moment, but I think we're going to see more people using it. So just choose what it is you've got to register. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes here and making sure that I get good segues on it. Okay, so that's what your domain names are. That's what your extensions are. That's why you're told to register the different extensions on them and keep a swathe of them. But let's go back to that email that I mentioned, the one that says, "Dear customer." How does it normally go? "Dear customer, dear business, another company is trying to register your business name in Asia. Please contact us immediately to protect your brand." So let's dig into that, because that's the one that I get a lot of questions about. Like, do I need to worry about this? Are they trying to steal my domain name? The answer is no. They're not trying to steal your domain name, because your domain name, like mine, let's use my domain name. My domain name is askcharlyleetham.com. That's the one that I hang my hat on. That's the one. They're not trying to steal that. They might be trying to steal askcharlyleetham.asia. And they'll often start with a polite, something like I've mentioned, or we're a registrar, they'll continue the message. We're a registrar in China. A company wants to register your name.cn, so askcharlyleetham.cm or askcharlyleetham.asia. Do we have your permission? It sounds like they're doing you a favour, right? That's what it sounds like. They're saying, "Oh, do we have your permission?" They don't need our permission. Trust me. Someone can go out and, if you don't have them, someone else can go out and register them. They don't need to ask your permission. So why are they emailing you? It's called, it's a scam. But it's not a scam in that you don't get something in return. Let me explain. Scammers know fears sell. If you think your brand identity is under attack, you're going to act fast. You may act without thinking. That's what they're relying on, is that people don't stop to think. People don't take that breath and go, is this right? People don't have someone like me in their corner that they can forward the email to and say, do we need to worry about this? And me go, no, you can ignore it. So what they'll do then is they get you to pay. The next step in this process is, well, look, how about we protect it for you? We'll register that domain name for you. It's only going to cost you. And it's several times the normal cost. So for example, if I have .cn domain names in my domain reseller, cheapdomainnamestoday.com. If I have .cn in there and I'm selling them at $15, these guys will normally be selling them at somewhere between $75 to $125 a domain per year. So they're making an incredible markup on it at your expense. That's the scam. That's what I would call a scam. It's working on the fear that your brand reputation, your brand is at risk, that you're going to lose something that is of value to you, and it may or may not be of value to you, and then they're going to charge you several times the normal cost of it to help you out. They're not helping anyone else out but themselves. So how do you check if those emails are legitimate? Like I said, you need someone in your corner. You can go to your domain registrar and ask them. Some of them are very busy. They probably won't respond to you. Understand that real domain registrars certainly won't contact you out of the blue about someone else's registration. That is one of the first red flags that you've got to consider. Have a look at the sender's address. If it's from Gmail or it looks odd, just honestly, you could probably delete it. If you're unsure, log in directly to your own domain registration account and check for the messages there. Not everyone does that. What I'd recommend is you have someone in your corner like me. Someone in your corner that you can come to and say, hey, is this legit? Is this something I need to worry about? If you're in a Facebook group that you can share this stuff, or even if you're like my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com, drop in there, post a message in there and say, is this legit? People will honestly help you out with that sort of stuff. If I see it, and I normally will see it, I will say to you, no, this isn't legit. Here's why. What's going to happen if you ignore them? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They don't have a customer wanting to register your domain name. They are just, I'm not going to use that word. They're lying. They're telling untruths. So you're just going to move on to the next target. There's no secret company waiting to grab your domain name the minute you don't reply. These scams are sent by the thousand and they survive on a few people panicking. Now, if you can imagine, if you have got a 200% markup or 500% markup on a domain name, you don't need a lot of people to take up the offer to cover your costs. How can you stop falling for the same sort of trick? Sorry, and I'm not going to say falling. That's a terrible thing. How do you just filter it out so you don't even see it? You can set up a rule for your team. Any email about urgent domain registrations get ignored or forwarded to you or your tech team. Educate everyone. Educate yourself. And once you stop responding, you'll find that the messages start to drop off because they're like, they're either not interested or they're on to us. One of them, maybe there's something else. But do just have it in that. Make sure you understand that this way those emails are structured. Make sure you understand what it all means. Educate your own team. Educate your VAs, your subcontractors who work with you if they get those things. Take a breath. Take a breath before you do anything and check with other people. What's some brand protection, though, that doesn't break the bank? I already mentioned this at the top. I'm just going to come back and sort of tie it all in together for you. You want to get your .com and your local country extension. So .com.au if you're in Australia, you might want to consider picking up the .au as well. If you can't get the .com, grab a clean alternative that matches your brand. I wouldn't go with .info, .xyz, .space, or all of those other ones. They add nothing, and honestly, they're not in common use. People don't go and look for those off the top of their head. If you are in a specific space, you want to make sure you grab that. So if you've got .com.au and you can't get the .com, certainly grab the .au, maybe, and you've got to be careful here, maybe look at the .org, although there are requirements for picking up the .org as to what you can and can't do. .net is another option. They tend to be the more common ones. The last one that I'd mention is .biz, B-I-Z, not as commonly used, but I have registered a number of domains for people with that, and it works quite well for them. You can actually monitor your name, your business name and your domain name. Some fancy monitoring services cost too much for small businesses. You can just search your domain name occasionally. Go to a search engine and put in your domain name and see what comes up. See if something else. In fact, I wouldn't even just put in askcharlyleetham.com. I would just put in askcharlyleetham without the .com and see what comes up for my domain name. So you can search that occasionally. You can use the Whois services. So in Australia, it's whois.auda.org.au. You can go there and have a look. If you're looking more widely, you can go to whois.domaintools.com. That's my favorite place to go and search for domain names, and put in your domain name and see if new domains appear. You can also use .db or Domain Eyes free tiers to check out what's been registered with your domain in it. That should be enough. If you see something that's close to your domain name, you might want to just go and have a look at the website, check it out, and make sure it's okay. The other protections you need to do is make sure that you keep your domain ownership and your renewals in mind. Make sure that you own your domain name account. Make sure that's in your name. Make sure you've got your emails on it. It's not your designer's, not your tech person, yours. You're the registrant. This is yours. This is a business asset. Turn on auto renew and link it to a valid credit card so it doesn't expire. I would also set up rules in my email that says if something comes in from my domain registrar with this subject line, domain renewal, with renewal in the subject line, for example, it pings me. It brings it to the top of my mail so that I can see it. Once you lose your domain name, it becomes another process. It might be simple. It might just be simple enough that you go in and just re-renew it, re-register it, and you're good to go. Some people have lost their domain names. It takes like 90 days for that domain name to go back into the pool. But once it goes back into the pool, it can get snapped up by someone else. And once you've lost it, you've lost it. Yes, you can go and offer to buy it back from someone, but they'll try and charge you thousands of dollars to get it back. So make sure you keep your renewals in mind. I would recommend putting them in your calendar as well. My domain name is due for renewal on this date, and have a reminder go out, a week before, 2 weeks before, so you can go and check it and make sure that you've got the renewal going through. Make sure your credit card is up to date. Make sure you haven't lost the credit card and cancelled that credit card and have to put a new one in. That happens a lot. What happens if someone does actually impersonate you? If someone launches a fake site using your name or logo, that's when you're going to have to go and talk to a lawyer. You are going to need some assistance. There's an internal process. There's an international process, not an internal process. There's an international process, the UDRP. It's global, legal, and expensive. And honestly, international bodies, I'm not sure how much sway they have in some countries. So if someone in a specific type of country runs up a website that looks like yours, I'm not sure how much these guys are going to be able to do anything about it, because how do you enforce something internationally? It's worth it only if the fake site is damaging your reputation or tricking customers. Otherwise, save your money. Now, look, what I'm going to add to that is you can go and look them up. You can try and get email addresses for whoever owns that site. Whois is a good way of getting that. You can send them a cease and desist letter. If you want to go to the expense of getting a lawyer, you can just send them a message saying, hey, I noticed that you're impersonating my website. I really would wish you'd stop. Otherwise, I am going to have to involve my lawyers and get legal action started. Sometimes that works as well. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, yes. I think it's worthwhile going out and saying to them, please stop. Be nice about it, but please stop. Okay, so what's the last thing on all of this? The last thing that I really want to pull up on is that you should be focusing on brand trust and not endless domain purchases. Your online reputation comes from people's experiences of your business. Wow, Charly. Not how many domain names you own. Keep your website, Google listing, and social pages accurate and active. Make sure you know when your domain name is going to renew and keep it renewed. When customers trust your main site, the rest of the web really doesn't matter that much. In fact, what I'm going to say there is if you've got really good brand trust, brand reputation with your customer base and something else pops up with your name on it, you're normally going to get a message from them saying, did you know this exists? Is this your site? They'll come and ask you because they know that you're trustworthy. So is your business name really safe with all those domain name variations? For most small businesses, yes. The real danger isn't losing your name. It's being scared into buying protection you don't need. Own your key domains, keep them renewed, ignore the scam emails, and spend your time on building a brand that people actually look for. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say that it's not going to happen, that someone builds up something that actually does cause you harm. This is where your threat and risk assessment comes in. Do you like the big size there? That's where your threat and risk assessment comes in. You've got to really decide what's the risk of this happening? What's the probability of it happening? How much will it cost me to mitigate this down to something that I'm happy with? Is it worthwhile spending that money to do it? You've got to make that decision yourself. My general feeling is be very specific about it. Be very focused on how you do it. Finally, keep calm. If you see those messages that come in, keep calm. Come back to people like myself, drop into groups, join my locals community, ask charlyleetham.locals.com. You can actually ask those sorts of questions there and get that advice pretty quickly as to, this is something you can ignore. If you're in a group on Facebook that does this sort of thing, ask there. A business group on Facebook, ask there. People will always give you some advice. You've still got to filter it. You've still got to make sure that you're happy with that advice, but they'll give you some advice. They'll let you know what their experiences are and what they think. Alrighty, guys, what do you think? Have you had those emails come in? I certainly have. I get them regularly. I see them for other clients as well because they send them in to me and say, is this something I need to worry about? I'm pretty certain that a few of my clients have got those on auto forward. They come in, they go, oop, just forward that to Charly. She'll tell me what I need to do. They don't even read them anymore. They just send them through to me, and that's fine. It's exactly what I want them to do because I can help them, and that's what I do every day. I can recognize those things every day. If I've said something that has raised more questions than I've answered, please leave comments wherever you're watching or listening to these videos. We'll get to them eventually. You can always join my locals community and get a bit of a quicker response. Ask charlyleetham.locals.com. If this video was useful, please give it a like, and if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. And guys, I'll see you the day after tomorrow. Bye. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.